Yes, they are the second best Bulldog on the West Coast. I understand that, but we're still going to be talking about them before you because you still haven't learned your lesson. So you need to actually get back in that corner. You need to stay 6 feet apart. And maybe even next week, we're going to be talking about another Jesuit university that's not even going to be you. Well, welcome to another week of discovering who is the best mid-major player that is currently playing in the NBA, where we're just reviewing a lot of their accomplishments when it came to the college career and seeing what were the NBA scouts thinking when it came to that draft year for them. And today, as you can tell in the title, we're going to be talking about the best player to come out of Fresno State for basketball, Paul George. And now, for really anyone looking for colleges for sports, colleges for clubs, or really for anything for that matter, this is a story to take in just to not settle on that first one that gave you an offer. Now, a little bit about Paul George. He grew up in Palmdale, California, with two older sisters who also shared a similar interest in sports, with the younger sister playing for CSU San Bernardino volleyball, and then the older sister playing at Pepperdine for basketball. When committing to a college, Paul George committed to a Pepperdine rival Santa Clara University, which was the very first school to actually offer him some sort of scholarship to play for basketball. But when talking to his high school coach, the coach said, hold on, wait a minute, let's decide to wait on this and see what other offers that we can get. So Paul George then decommitted from Santa Clara. Then shortly after that, he gets an offer from Pepperdine to play basketball, to which Paul George also committed to, but then also decommitted to. But this was also for the reason that Vance Wahlberg, the head coach of Pepperdine at the time, stepped down and resigned from the program. And then ultimately it came down to three colleges: Georgetown, Penn State, and Fresno State. And as we know, he chose Fresno State more due to the fact that he was going to get so much more playing time for that college. Paul George's freshman career started off explosively, going 14 points and 5 rebounds against Sacramento State in an ultimate 77-65 win. The very next game, Paul George went 25 points and 10 rebounds on St. Mary's College, which was an unfortunate loss for them that day, but Paul George had a one-handed slam dunk over Mickey McConnell, making Sports Center's top play of the day. And if you're like me, being a big Gonzaga fan, that is a play to see. So go and watch that highlight. St. Mary's College versus Fresno State back in like 2008. During the Western Athletic Conference play, Paul George had a career high of 29 points while also getting 10 rebounds against Boise State his freshman year. Fresno State entered the WAC tournament going 12-20 overall and got a 3-13 conference record, which was second to last place that year. They did, however, end up winning their first game against Hawaii and then go on to face Utah State in the second round of that tournament. I actually kind of thought we were going to be done talking about Utah State when it came to Damian Lillard, but Paul George did put up a career high of forcing 5 steals while also scoring 16 points. But unfortunately, Fresno State ended up becoming on the losing end of the winning team, losing team, winning team, losing team cheer of the Aggies. That winning team, losing team cheer is actually really cool to see, even if it's footage, because it's a big cheer from Utah State, and it's actually one of the best cheers in college basketball. But anyways, due to the poor record that Fresno State had during the season and overall, they did not qualify for the March Madness tournament, nor did they qualify for the NIT, and they probably rejected the CBI and the CIT tournaments. So this brought Paul George's freshman career to a close. Now, for however sad that may sound, Paul George did start all 34 games for Fresno State and led WAC in minutes played, while also going second in three-point shooting with 44.7%, had second most steals with 59, and second most steals per game with 1.74. And then when entering his sophomore year, Sports Illustrated actually named Paul George one of the most entertaining players to watch on the West Coast and 8th overall to watch in 2009. And boy, did he live up to that hype in his first game against San Francisco State, going 19 points, 8 rebounds, 4 steals, and 10 for 10 from the free throw line. And when you actually look at Paul George's sophomore stats, he only had 4 double doubles, but he could have had at least 10 more if he had only gotten like one more point or one more rebound or one more assist. It was just by one. There's an impressive amount of nines that he has in his stats. And I'm pretty sure there's probably a record somewhere that he has just short of double doubles that sophomore year. But let's also not forget that he also did actually miss 4 games that season when he did sprain his ankle against Utah State. There could have been a lot more that we could have seen from Paul George, honestly, this sophomore year, and we will never know just due to the fact that he did miss 4 games. And also, maybe he could have had an extra minute or two and just gotten that one extra point or just that one extra rebound. But like what we discussed before, especially when we talked about Stephen Curry, coming back from injury, New Mexico State putting up 30 points, having 5 rebounds, and going 5 for 13 from the 3-point line. So, wow, do these players just bounce back strong and put up an amazing performance in their game back from injuries. And unlike Paul George's freshman year, in his sophomore year, Fresno State went 15-17 overall and went 7-9 in the WAC, putting them at 5th place. And then during the WAC tournament, Fresno State lost to the obvious Western athletic team of Louisiana Tech. Yes, they were in the WAC. I'm not kidding. Look this up. This team was actually in the WAC, the Western Athletic Conference. Louisiana Western. Yeah. Now, it was actually really interesting to see the history of the WAC because there's actually used to be 5 teams from Texas, the University of Tulsa, and Louisiana Tech. So there've been quite a bit of changes over the year, and there's like 7 teams that, wow, why are you considered Western at this point? Where are our boundaries? Where are our borders at this point? And Paul George in his sophomore career had 16.8 points, 7.2 rebounds, and 3 assists per game while going second in WAC with 90.9% free throw percentage, 64 total steals, and 2.2 steals per game. Wow, what an amazing sophomore career you had in the WAC. And this somehow earned Paul George second team overall in the WAC. I don't know how, but he goes on to the 2010 draft where he went 10th overall, which is the highest in Fresno State history, and gets drafted by the Indiana Pacers, who then trade him in 2017 in exchange for Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis, who is probably a player that we will end up talking in the future, but then gets traded to the Los Angeles Clippers in 2019, where he still is. And with having such an amazing college career, Paul George was able to translate that into being a 6-time All-Star and a 2-time All-Defensive First Team in the NBA, while also having his number 24 retired in 2019 for Fresno State to thank him for everything he did in his 2 years there. And also to end on that note, Paul George, we thank you as well for showcasing what mid-major programs can do in the NBA once you actually decide on which one's actually going to best showcase your talent and not just which is going to be the first one to offer you a scholarship. And so we're also going to thank you as well. Thank you for watching this video as well. Please comment down below who do you want to see in a future video. I still have some names, so maybe I've missed some, so please comment that down below. But in the meantime, please stay safe, stay healthy, and please just continue to washing those hands. Get in between those fingers, get under the nails, get behind, get on the wrist as well. Just keep, please, staying safe, staying healthy, and washing those hands.